So my name is Paul Stevens and welcome to this short-term rentals webinar on next-gen hospitality, embracing automation for superior guest experiences, sponsored by Welcome Pickups. I'm the editor of short-term rentals at International Hospitality Media, and I'm the host for today's session. So our sponsor, Welcome Pickups, is a travel tech platform and mobility service that aims to revolutionize guest transfers. Its network includes vacation rentals, hotels, affiliates, individual drivers, driver companies, and lots more as well. So we'll be hearing a lot more about that very shortly. Before we begin, let's just introduce a short video from Welcome Pickups.
Welcome to Welcome Pickups for short-term rentals, the only software tool that automates your guest transfers and airport pickups. You simply sign up for your forever free account, create your personalized landing page, and your guests book their transfers after they book their accommodation with you. What's more, you also get a cut of each transfer operated. Welcome Pickups, your partner on the ground.
So big thank you to our sponsor for today, Welcome Pickups, and really excited to be hosting this session today. Let's though introduce our speaker lineup for today. I'll go from left to right actually. We'll start with Yuli, please.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Yuli. I'm the head of the Travel Partners team in Welcome Pickups, and happy to be here and discuss automation with everybody.
Thank you, Yuli. And next up, please, we have Savas.
Hi, thanks, Paul. Thanks, everybody, for joining. I'm Savas Georgiou. I'm one of the two founders of Welcome Pickups since 2015. The company is doing primarily guest services and airport pickups. We do it for a lot of partners, and a big chunk of partners is vacation rental businesses. And we are a tech/service company, so I'm glad we are here to introduce to you more about what we do and see how this can reflect to more things on automation on these businesses. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Savas. And next up, we have Francois from Guest Ready.
Hi, everyone. I'm Francois. I'm the CTO at Guest Ready and Rental Ready. On our side, we are both a large property manager focused in urban area with over 3,000 properties, and also a PMS Rental Ready. So I've myself worked a lot on the partnership with Welcome Pickup, notably building the integration, all the communication to the guest, etc., which we'll be developing more later. Thank you.
Thank you, Francois. And last but my name is Lisa, we have Liliana.
Hi, I'm Liliana. I'm in charge for planning and oversee all the operations and guest services at the short-term rental company called Tripas Coração in Oporto. And we've been working with Welcome Pickups, a lot of automation communication, and looking forward for all your questions.
Thank you, Liliana, and thank you to all of our fantastic panel for today. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts and insights. So we have a couple of webinar guidelines to go through very quickly. All of the details are going to be posted in the chat throughout, so please do go there to ask any of our panelists a question. We'll have a panel discussion lasting around 45 minutes leading into some audience questions, and then a recording will be sent round to everyone within the next 48 hours. So we just have a couple of context slides quickly just to contextualize today's discussion. We've covered Welcome Pickups before on short-term rentals, notably the company's €5.3 million funding round back in December 2022, which was done to supercharge its expansion plans internationally and across Europe. Back in 2020 as well, Savas was one of the very first guests on the Short-Term Rentals podcast when in an episode we discussed guest safety and much more. I think the link is going to be posted in the chat. And even before that, we did a Q&A article with CEO Alex Trimis in 2019 when he addressed the gap in the market for creating a personalised, complete travel experience and reducing the friction of airport transfer arrangements. And we've got a little agenda here today of what we're going to be discussing. We're going to be covering everything from automation in hospitality and why it is important, and how to start automation and guest transfers, specifically in the case of welcome pickups. We'll move on to an interview session with our experts Liliana and Francois to discuss their own specific case studies before delving into the future of automation, and finally an audience Q&A. So do get your questions ready for our panel today. So we've got, I'm going to hand over the reins to Savas very shortly, but Savas, first, the main question I think to base this this part of the discussion around is, can you just explain the automation in hospitality aspect, and what are the key sort of factors that we're seeing more automation in this segment?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Paul. So automation in general, it's in all industries. What people try to do with technology and the advance of technology is to, repetitive tasks or tasks that don't really add any particular extra value, to make sure they happen by a machine or something, right? And technology, hopefully, and not only technology, I think the guests also and the users of technology today are more and more used to be receiving automated either communication or tasks or things that happen, and they understand they're not happened by a human being. They are things that happen in a sequence of other things. Hospitality definitely has a lot of operations for hundreds of reasons. I don't know, from making sure the keys are at the right place to flights arriving in the right airport and things like that. So a lot of things are operations in travel, and automation can definitely help a lot, same as it helps in factories. Years ago, hundreds of years ago, that they started automating other processes to scale. Yeah, but we will talk today a little bit more about how we see the problem, how we ended up accidentally even working more and more in automating things of our travel partners. We started with a different idea of creating a service, and then we realized it helps other businesses to automate some of the things they do manually, right? Yeah, I don't know. We can start the slides. I will try to be quick, and I will also start a personal timer. So to begin with, I think it starts with the evolving expectations of the guests, right? Guests today, before traveling, they used to be using other products, other services, and they're very used to having a very seamless experience here and there. And this starts getting aggressively more and more seamless by the big companies and the big software that helps people, from your iPhone to your OTA, Airbnb booking, whatever you use. You start realizing how hassle-free and how more easy it is for you to book, and how more safe it is for you to make a decision, and how all the information you receive is very relevant and very timely. So you start as a user expecting everything in your travel to be of similar level. So big companies are pushing the limits of seamless experiences and automations, and smaller companies and operators at the end, they have to follow to meet the expectations, right? So next slide. We also, as I said before, travel is a lot about operations, and operation, unfortunately, can have human errors, right? Things can go wrong. Things can be forgotten, things can be misplaced, things like that. And automation can either help us reduce mistakes or do some things faster. But at the end of the day, I believe it unlocks a negative thought that we might have, that we cannot do something, because if we start doing something, we might have a lot of problems, a lot of work, a lot of errors, things like that. So I guess a lot of people in the room might have ideas during the last year that they killed and they didn't pursue, let's say, because they were saying, okay, this will create a mess in our operation. So maybe we can unlock our mind a little bit. If we could automate part of it, would we do it, and how much it would be a competitive advantage? And we can go to the next slide with that. Either it can be a competitive advantage, or it can be some more revenue, or something in general we want to explore, but we are kind of holding back because we're afraid of the complexity of having this at scale, right? Especially since competitors might be, competition for some people might be, okay, I want to be bigger, I want to have more homes, I want to have more things. But you need to decide at some point how much risk you will put in your operation. So automation, I think, can also make you more competitive. And the next slide and final on this topic, I guess, finally, you definitely see a revenue boost. I mean, either at the top line of increasing, your ancillary revenue or increasing your repeating revenue, or at the bottom line, seeing some of your costs getting not smaller per se, but as you grow, they seem to be more steady, right? I don't think anybody will jump in an automation and totally and immediately remove a big chunk of their costs, but maybe they increase their operations, they grow, and they don't see some of the costs growing. In the next slide, we have a summary of research we do. I think we do it every year, and on average, if a partner has 100 homes or 100 rooms, we see the impact of working with Welcome Pickups about the airport pickup service. It seems they're gaining back around 3.5 hours per day. If they used to be doing manually arrangements of airport pickups, you might need some hours even to reject them, to say, no, we don't have. Still, it will take some time, but especially if you want to manage them, it's a lot of hours. We see the average revenue in this 100 homes situation to be around 1,000 per month. And we see some extra benefits in satisfaction of guests and some upsells that you can schedule around the information you get from knowing the airport pickup times, like early check-ins, etc. In the next slide, I want us to, take a moment and think, okay, what should I automate? I mean, this presentation is not only about the idea of automating or outsourcing airport pickups to us, is to see what else you can do in your organization. And I have written 4 steps, let's say, to actually automate something, a 4-step framework, let's call it, starting from identifying opportunities, selecting technology, training, and launching. We can go to the first step, which is in the next slide, about identifying automation opportunities. You can, of course, do some research and see what other people automate, but what I suggest sometimes, and we do it also for our own services many times in customer service, right? You can go at the end of the year and go backwards and see where did you responded in a message, I'm sorry, or where did you responded, I'm sorry because a mistake happened, we are sorry, something like that. You can search keywords like I'm sorry, we're sorry, I apologize, things like that. Or you can see wherever you said, unfortunately, we don't have this, unfortunately, we don't support this. I think if you do some analysis in your inbox or in your feedback, you will find either opportunities to offer something else or mistakes that happened during the year and could be passed through some automation for less mistakes. And eventually you can also, it takes more time to map all the journey of your check-in, let's say, of your booking, from the moment you receive confirmation to the check-in, to the checkout, to the other information you have to pass through your system, and see where do you spend more time. This is harder. The first option is to just see inboxes, but you will definitely identify some opportunities. And in the next slide, I say that you actually need to spend some time on researching and vetting vendors or providers. I think things like what Paul is organizing here could be a point of inspiration, but definitely the website or other forums have a lot of things that other companies are doing. You can either even book somebody else to see how they automate some stuff. But after some research, most of the services out there have some sort of easy pilot program, right? It's just a matter of decision if you want to try something in one home or your whole organization or something. Also, I think companies like PMS that Francois is building are starting having more and more integrated solutions. So you can also go to their marketplaces or set of integrations and start researching what I can try quickly as a pilot. And in the next slide, we say the hard truth about, the reality is that at some level you need to inform your staff and, onboard people in any anything that is doing things automatically. Key people should know how they work, right? Because they need to know how to respond, how to mitigate the impact if something seems to be going wrong. Hopefully, things are simpler than what they seem. And every organization that tries to build an automation is responsible also for how the systems are integrated and how easy it is for staff to understand and how clear things are. We are especially where I'm sure we're in this category, but definitely it cannot go that smooth always. You need some onboarding period, right? But the benefits are much more when you roll out everything to your whole organization. And I think it's one step at a time. Automations keep getting better. So you need to start from something. And last, everything should be monitored. Last slide, Paul. Especially on feedback that you might get for a thing you tried, you need to figure out a way to confirm it worked for your guests, right? We still work here to service travelers, and they have the final say on if this works or not for them. Of course, internal users and admin users might have some benefit, but if it seems it doesn't create a better experience at the end, it needs to be revised. But hopefully also these tools, because they try to, and same as us, they want to prove that they have better performance plus better experience plus usually either less cost or more revenue. They will help you navigate your data and see exactly what was the impact, and will not be an analysis that you have to do yourself that much. But make sure you keep in contact with your guests to make sure if they're affected by an automation that this has a positive impact. That's it from me. I think I want to pass it to Yuli to say a few more things about our service, right? Next slide.
Thank you, Sava. So before we do pass on to Yuli, I think I just want to ask a question based on what you've been talking about there, and it's a really interesting summary of what Welcome Pickups is doing and about automation. We'll hear more about some of the trends at the moment, but I know that Welcome Pickups was founded in 2015, and you've sort of been founded on this goal of redefining the way people discover a destination as well, and also on the principle of delivering a holistic and in-destination travel experience. I guess what would kind of be the sort of success, what would be a sign of success for you at Welcome Pickups to be delivering that sort of goal?
Look, if we focus on the traveler experience, the paradigm is that, if you have two guests traveling to the same, two travelers going to the same destination, same period for the same amount of days, and one of them booked Welcome Pickups and the other one didn't book Welcome Pickups, to have a final survey at the end that the person who booked Welcome Pickup said that my trip was affected by it. So it was less stress, more connected with my accommodation or my flight, which are the first, the two pillars of the travel, right? Where you stay and how you arrive. Less stress, more content. Somehow the discussion I had with the driver during the ride from the airport to the hotel really affected my whole trip. I wouldn't have done this if I was with a silent driver, maybe a safe ride, moving in the highway to my home. So this is what we try to achieve, to have some impact, to make this first 1 hour of the travel to be part of the trip, right? For many customers, for many guests, the trip begins when they leave their luggage at home. They have a short bath maybe, and now the trip starts. For people who book Welcome Pickups, we wish it starts the moment they land in the destination. It's very connected, it's very seamless, and it has significant content during the ride. We actually try to productize this more and more. We'll have a launch later this year, how we can leverage the driver community information plus our partner information, create something very content first during the ride, because these 45 minutes or 1 hour in the highway are actually part of your trip, and they can definitely affect more and more of your travel experience. For the partners, it's different, but talking about travelers, I think this is the goal, and we're still doing small steps to confirm it happens everywhere in the world. Yeah.
Thank you, Savas. And we're now going to do more of a deep dive into Welcome Pickup's role in automating guest transfer. So I'm almost ready to hand over to Yuli. But Yuli, you're head of travel partners at Welcome Pickups, and we'll soon be sharing the slide with some of those partners as well. But in terms of automation in ground transportation, Yuli, what does that look like?
Well, from a property manager's perspective, for example, or from a travel partner's perspective, usually the transfer service is sometimes a burden, or an operational hassle is something that is an additional service, because, you know, property managers are mainly focused on their room nights and their occupancy. So sometimes an airport transfer request might create more hassle than an opportunity. So what we do is actually automate this part fully for the property manager, and at the same time, we're also a solution that is trustworthy, is a 5-star. It's what we do, and our full focus is on airport transfers. So this is an opportunity for the property manager to kind of outsource the solution in a very automated way, and at the same time keep the best quality for their guests and eventually get the best reviews for the total experience of the traveler, including their stay and also any additional service. So this is kind of my idea, and from a property manager's perspective, and from what we see from our partners as well.
And you've got some slides, and I know you want to share, so I'll let you take it away. And I know also talking about your travel partners as well.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Paul. So yeah, as I mentioned, what we do is that, you know, we offer peace of mind to travelers for sure, and to property managers. Eventually, our goal is to remove the stress in the first moment when you arrive to a new destination, and you know, you have your reservation booked, your apartment is waiting for you, but there is one step, like when you arrive to the airport and need to go to your apartment, that is kind of messy still. So you want to have everything pre-booked, prepaid. You should know your driver who will be picking you up, and that you will enjoy a 5-star service. He will be speaking English. He will be like a local guide. So a peace of mind in the first moment that you arrive in a destination, and you get a reliable service to get to your accommodation. So in the same logic, and this is something that occurred during the growth of the company, because initially we were more directed for B2C customers, but eventually we saw that this makes sense also for partners and for vacation rentals specifically, to offer their service to their guests, and this will help them boost their reviews, automate things, make them more operationally savvy, let's say, and focus more on more important tasks on their side. So we can go to the next slide. I can share a little bit more about how we work and how do we collaborate with vacation rentals. We work with multiple vacation rental partners across the world. I'm very happy that we have two guests today, Liliana and Francois, to talk about their partnership with us as well. So what we do is that we create personalized, we have a very personalized approach in general. So each traveler can have his dedicated page. I will show you some examples later so that they can book by themselves. So it's a very self-serve solution as well for the travelers, because the property manager can communicate the service to the guest, and then he can do everything by himself. And everything happens with the power of technology, of course. We are primarily a technology company, so everything is streamlined, pre-booked, prepaid, pre-arranged, no extra costs, and you know which driver will pick you up and all that. We are a trustworthy service. We have 5-star reviews across all platforms. We are also global, within more than 250 destinations around the world. So this also gives, let's say, the opportunity to a partner that is expanding or is having, multiple destinations, having one provider that will cater the same service across all cities. And of course, there is a revenue opportunity for the partner as well. So there is a commission scheme, let's say, that can boost a bit the revenue of the partner without actually doing much, because the whole service is happening from our side. Everything is automated, as I will show you. And then it's only it's also the revenue potential from the whole partnership. We can move on. I can show you some screens about, let's go to the next slide. So this is how a typical partnership works, let's say, on the vacation rental space with Welcome Pickups. We have an example here of a fully personalized page of our partner Guest Ready. So this is an example of an actual apartment in Paris, I will say. So you can see, there is the logo of the partner, the name of the property that the specific guest has booked. There is also a photo that matches the exact apartment that the person has booked, and also the address is pre-completed in the booking form. This makes the whole booking process very easy for the traveler. They don't need to search for exact addresses and all that. They have it ready, pre-completed, and they can directly book their transfer on their own. Moving to the next slide. What is actually, once the booking has happened, let's say the guest has already booked, the property manager can then have access to a dashboard where they can monitor all their bookings, a full list of their upcoming transfers. They can use filters based on properties. They can see all their details in a fully transparent dashboard that we provide access to. Moving on to the next slide. In general, we are very demanding with our drivers. They use our app where they need to track everything. They have, GPS tracking and all that. And then we share this communication with our partners as well, so they can see exact arrival time. This is very helpful for vacation rental owners to know what time will their guest arrive, to arrange check-ins and all that. And also, if we move on to the next slide, you can see we share all the information that we have from our end as well. So guest details, guest contacts, and of course, driver contact details, his phone number, a local landline. So if anything happens and you cannot find the property manager cannot find his guest, he can still contact a local driver with a local phone to see where they are if they don't see them on the map. We also ask some more personalized questions to each of the guests. So for example, they complete, we call it a trip profile, some questions to understand the audience a little bit better, and then we give this information back to the partner. This information can be used also to boost reviews. For example, if a traveler mentions that he's interested about museums, and this is the purpose of his visit, let's say, the host can share, more targeted communication about which museums to visit and all that, and this can eventually have a very positive effect on reviews. Moving on to the next slide. Since we have information about exact arrival time, we also track the flight. So if anything is delayed, we also give this information to partners. There are opportunities also for some upsells, like early check-ins or late checkouts. If it's an information that the guest has not provided to the host yet, we also have this information from the booking of the transfer. And then at the next slide, we also give you a lot of visibility about reviews, because we are proud of our service and our 5-star reviews across platforms, but we give back this feedback to our partners as well. So the guests that have booked to the property manager, to the partner, whatever review they leave about our service, we also display it in the partner web dashboard to be fully transparent and clear. I think I have a couple of slides more. So in the next slide, we can see also commissions. So as I mentioned, there is a revenue benefit, let's say, for the partner as well. So on that perspective, we give again visibility on a monthly basis. All payments are happening through the platform, fully automated, fully transparent, and no hassle-free, actually, I will say. Next slide, please. And I think that's it, pretty much. Just one note, because there was one small slide missing. All that, like everything starts with this generic landing page, and then it's very important that this landing page actually reaches travelers. So the property manager from his side needs to communicate this landing page to the guests, and hopefully Liliana and Francois will be able to share how they do it on their to their guests at the moment. So, you know, there is one super important step that needs to happen before all that I showed you. And then we give you back all the visibility that I just mentioned.
Thank you very much, Yuli. Fantastic presentation, and great to learn all about your partners and the automation in ground transportation. And as you were saying, just on this slide at the moment, if you visit the link that I've just seen, it's just been pasted in the chat, then there is a free sign up option for welcome pickups. So we advise you to go and check that out. Thank you, Yuli. We'll hopefully be coming back to you very shortly. But yeah, this is the point of the webinar, as we mentioned, that we're here to get the case studies from property managers, two distinct property managers within the Welcome Pickups network. So I'm going to turn first to Francois, the CTO of Guest Ready, and Francois, you're CTO of Guest Ready, as we mentioned, and of Rental Ready as well, your PMS. You've got a presence in 7 countries and 40 plus cities, I think, at last count, and that includes Europe and the rest of the world as well. Can you just talk to us a bit about what actually inspired you to begin your automation journey, and where did Welcome Pickups sort of feature in that initial phase?
Yes, so thank you. On our side, so to begin our automation journey, it's actually something we started very, very early on. I think when we started to expand in our second city, we realized very quickly that automation was one of the key to be able to scale. Our first city, it was relatively okay to still manage things manually, even though it was always far from perfect. And as we expanded to more and more place, without necessarily people on the ground and with different specificities, we started originally to look for different partners everywhere to automate things like transfer, which I think it's one of the first things you really want to automate when it comes to extra service. It's really the basis. The guest arrives, he wants to go to your place. Usually the first one you think about. Originally, we started to have various partners in all the destination. It was actually quite complicated to manage because they would work differently. Sometimes you send a link, sometimes you have to pre-book for the guest, etc. And that's where we came across Welcome Pickup. It was actually pretty convenient, also because we have a lot of properties, so having something that covered almost all our destination at once, it was a very good step for us toward automation, because it's a lot easier to automate with one single partner than to automate with 10 different partners. So yeah, that was one of the main reason we selected Welcome Pickup. Then we actually built the integration to be able to automatically create the properties. So we actually have quite a big volume of new properties as well coming in every month. So it was pretty convenient that there was a possibility to automatically create this automated landing page. And then the next step was to really add it to the different guest touch point that we had. So the guest templates, the guest pre-check-in form, sending some dedicated upselling emails. So for us, really what really matters is like we want the guest flow to be automated, but we also want it to be quite thoughtless. We don't want the transfer to go wrong, and that's something that, as it was mentioned by Julie, the ratings have been very constantly good, and for us that's very important when it comes to automation. It should be automated, but it should always always work as well. So yeah, that was one, I think, of the reason why it's been successful at Guest.
Okay. Thank you, Francois, for those thoughts there. So we'll turn from a property manager that has a global portfolio and footprint there to Liliana. And Liliana, you're based in Porto in Portugal. We were talking off camera about how that's one of my favourite cities, and you're founded in 2015. I think I looked on your website and you're up to around 41 homes in the city of Porto, and also found it interesting that so the name of your company is Tripas Coração. I hope I'm pronouncing that okay, but that's a popular expression, I believe, in Portugal about turning adversities into strength. So in some ways, how have you sort of, I guess, overcome adversities with technology and automation? How did you then find welcome pickups and start the journey towards automation?
Well, in line of what has been presented here, at Tripas Coração, we are always seeking for implementing technology and AI to cover most of the daily tasks in like housekeeping, maintenance, guest communication, the finance department as well. So our team can focus on elevating our guest satisfaction and be available to develop other streams of revenue or new things to offer to our guests. And a little over 2 years ago, we were looking for a transfer partner that would fit right along with this strategy, and we would not have to call every time we needed a transfer, waiting for a reply, for availability, and then get back to the guest. That was just too much hassle. And that's when we got in touch with Welcome Pickups. And it's been working flawless since then. The setup, like Yuli was presenting, it's really easy. Every time we add new properties, we just contact our account and we do it. It doesn't take long at all. And then the process, providing this information to the guests, it's really easy too. We have automation communication on our PMS, and we just integrate the link for each property which is connected. So whenever the guest receives our communication, they click that link, and like Yulia was showing, their property shows up. They don't need to look for an address, anything. And then what is great as well, the driver sometimes gives some tips on Porto, and they even put in the code on the door to open for our guests, and that's very much appreciated, and it gets reflected on reviews, which is big for us as well. So what is also really easy to do is the payment process, not just for the guests, but for us as a partner as well. We don't have to think a lot about it at the end of the month, and it's just a couple of clicks, that's it. The access to reports anytime. Also, the accountant is very, it's always available to meet up or new updates. And moving forward for us, next month we're launching a guest portal with a different partner who integrates with Welcome Pickups as well. So we are gonna add Welcome Pickups on our upsells as well, still on the automated communication with our guests. And we believe that will be a nice step to increase bookings and revenue as well, which it's also important for all of us, right?
Thank you very much, Liliana. We'll return to you very quickly as well. Francois, looking at, we hear a lot of things about the challenges and the opportunities within property management right now. And at Guest Ready, have you encountered any specific challenges at Guest Ready or Rental Ready? And how were these sort of addressed by Welcome Pickups?
So as I said before, the main challenge we faced was really the multiplication of providers. When we started to work on the transfers, we had always one provider somewhere that sometimes will forget to pick up the guest, some that will work very, very well in some cities, some that will suddenly stop operating without giving us any warning. So for us, really managing the provider, it was pretty time consuming, and at the end of the day, our core business is really not to manage transfer, it's really to manage the properties. So that's really where companies like Welcome Pickups and we have some in other area when they can cover the global needs and do it well. It really solve big problems for companies that are really trying to manage things at scale or in a really automated way.
Thank you, Francois. And same question really to you, Liliana, with quite a focused portfolio at Porto. Are there any specific challenges that you've faced as well that you feel have been addressed satisfactorily to a good level within your business?
Yes, it's also the fact guests arrive and they have all these options: taxi, there's an Uber, there's this, there's that, they don't show up, or they rude, or they don't take them to the correct address. And with Welcome Pickups, we honestly have never had any complaint in those regards. The experience has been very positive.
Have there been any specific tools or automation features as well that you found particularly useful for Tripas Coração?
Yes, not just for pickups. We have, well, pretty much tools for everything that we do. Usually these tools, we go into the marketplace of our PMS, which has some strong partners as well, and to facilitate integration, we try from there, and it's been working really well. It facilitates tremendously, and so we have time for focusing on other different things.
Thank you, Liliana. And a similar question to you, Francois. Any particular tools or automation features that you found most useful in your operations, or even tools that you'd like to see more development of?
Sorry, on our side, the tool that what we really like is that it is actually very, very automated. So on our side, we don't need to use directly too much the tool. We like that you can create automatically the properties and import them directly in Welcome Pickup. So you can actually create all our new properties every month automatically, which is pretty cool. And then we use the dashboard and the reporting. So being able to see how much transfer we sell, in which city, and have really like an automation of our payment every month without needing to actually have to request it or have to use communication, etc. So having everything in one single place with a partner dashboard has been pretty useful for us. And yeah, I think overall it's working in a very, very automated way. As I say, we have automated with our PMS front already everything. So it's on a different touch point on the guest space, on the automation. The guest just books there. It's directly pulling out the address from the PMS. And the guest, like for them, it's very, very simple to book. They just need to type or which airport they arrive, for example. And then we just have the guests arrive at the flat. We have our markup. We receive the money. So it's really a very convenient flow. We like how it works.
Thank you, Francois. I should say as well to our attendees today, if you've got any questions for Yuli, for Savas of Welcome Pickups, or for either of our property managers, Francois or Liliana, and please do pop them in the chat. We've had one or two come through already. Yuli, actually, I'll bring you into the conversation there. You've heard from Francois and Liliana. Is there anything you'd like to add on top of that?
First of all, thanks again, Liliana and Francois. I'm very happy for you guys sharing your experience and listening the whole thing from your perspective as well. And I'm happy for the attendees of the webinar as well to listen from you guys for using the service every day, actually. I think just one thing that I more want to clarify is that the whole partnership is for free. So there are no charges to start working with Welcome Pickups, setting up or the account or anything like this. All this access, whatever we have discussed and showed you, is actually completely free. So just, you know, a remark on that. And yeah, nothing, I don't know, Sava, if you want to add anything further on your end. Oh, sorry.
I know we're coming up to the trends very shortly, so
All right.
I'll turn to that quickly. But based on sort of the feedback aspect, which I'm quite interested there by Yuli, and it's what sort of feedback have you received in general, and how does that feedback as well help you develop your partnerships even more?
First of all, as I said, we are very technology driven in general. So this automation, whatever obstacles we see that our partners face, we try to resolve them usually with the power of technology. So, for example, some of the things that Francois mentioned, like very easy to set up a new property or automated payments, these are features that were developed actually from the feedback that we received from our property managers and partners in general. Another feature that we have also as a company, and vacation rentals can use it, is a book on behalf option. So if somebody wants to book a transfer for a VIP guest or for somebody else, so this is another thing that we offer as a service. And I think this open communication between us and the partners keeps bringing new things to our system and to our features, whatever we launch in our product roadmap. So this open communication and transparency that we have develops the whole product as a whole.
Very much, Yuli. We're coming up now to our next slide. So if we can bring that up, and then I'll bring in Savas as well. Savas, you're going to talk through the future technologies and trends in automation for hospitality. So I'll let you take it away, please.
Thank you, Paul. And I don't want to. I'm not a super expert. I mean, I cannot predict exactly the future. I just observe, and because we're a tech company, where same as other speakers and other candidates, we attend meetings and we see trends. And definitely there is a big trend in automating guest communication, right? Not only in travel, in every service. It has to do with the ChatGPT and all the AI power that seems to be able to do what? To read knowledge bases, understand what a human being would understand from a knowledge base, from a process, things like that, and respond back in a personalized way with minimum mistakes. If it's bounded to a knowledge base, when it's very open, it can go very bad. But bounded in a knowledge base, it can also, respond like a very, very good hospitality expert or a very, very good local Parisian something, right? So, but the real trend, I think, and I will say a bit more on this bullet compared to other bullets, don't worry. But a real trend here, I think, is that people and of all ages, faster than ever, are get used to it. So I think the change will be faster because a chatbot might get a good rating at the end, not just because it's fast in first response time. People, when responding to guests, they want first response to be very short, right? To be under an hour, whatever. Okay, of course, the chatbot can respond immediately under a second, but it might start getting a good rating in the response, might get access to solve a problem. It's not as easy as it sounds when it's beyond informational, but I think it's a change that we will see in our lifetimes. In our lifetime, we will be very happy with talking with a very polite bot, and maybe even happier than talking with a human at some level of interaction. Same as it happened with food delivery, right? I mean, we love the food delivery people, but we don't wish to talk with them on the phone every night or whenever you order. You know, smart home, I think, gets more connected now. I think it's happening already, but there were privacy concerns and other concerns. I think technology tries to find solutions on all the concerns, especially security and privacy, seem to be driving the innovation there. But the next bullet about dynamic pricing and revenue management in general, I think I don't think it gets more automated, it gets more commoditized, right? Revenue models and systems to predict and have the correct price and maximize the revenue were there, but they were very expensive. And they were used by high value companies like airlines or something, right? So they get more and more commoditized. So now, even with a small shop of, I don't know, 10 homes or 5 homes, you can use some of the state-of-the-art technology, decision-making, even application of prices, and do revenue management in 1 hour, right? While this could be a department in some other organizations. I think Liliana also mentioned housekeeping, etc. These are automations like the ones we offer, right? The part of a mix of automation and outsourcing, but in a very streamlined way for both parts, for the host, the guest, whoever is involved, and with a lot of data to confirm that things happen as expected. Review management systems, I think, has to do also with communication and responding to reviews, and maybe categorizing the sentiment of reviews. This starts getting also commoditized. And when I say commoditized, I mean essentially free, right? You can find an almost free tool to analyze the progress of the sentiment on your reviews. And I think invoicing and all the financial part starts getting more streamlined, also with bank systems actually getting closer to reality. But also more and more people accept online invoicing. More and more governments accept online invoicing or online receipts and online submit of things of this nature. So technology can officially start helping, because mostly governments and accountants start getting this technology phase. So now this can actually be more and more automated. Yeah, thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Savas. We do have another slide next as well. So you've got a welcome pickups, WhatsApp community QR code, property managers connect as well. So people, please do use the QR code and connect with the WhatsApp community with welcome pickups. And now if we go to our next slide, so we've got just a couple of minutes before we finish to run through a quick Q&A. We've had a really interesting question come up, and please do paste any more questions as well if you've got them. I'll direct this question to Savas, but if any of our other panelists want to come in as well, then please do. So Savas, the question from an anonymous attendee is, how do we know if we've had too much automation? Have we reached a point where automation is a threat to the workforce?
That's a very big question. I think there's no such a thing like too much automation, but I think we can only learn from the history at some level. But what we try to do, and we see happening, is that when organizations, or even very small companies or family businesses even, they start using automations, they don't really reduce costs, they just pursue growth. And I think there is also, if I'm not very wrong, especially with AI adoption in big organizations, it's clear that the early adopters of anything about AI and automation are growing faster rather than reducing their cost faster. Of course, the concern is there, but I mean, in the long run, where this will go. But I think, I mean, I'm not a historian, but from the past history, when things start getting more automated and more streamlined, and, you know, I don't know, from car factory companies to other industries, when things got more streamlined and able to produce more, they created more jobs in the end, eventually. Eventually might mean even by enabling transportation more and long-term travel more. But eventually, even if there was a bump or a dent in workforce needs in some industries, and with a question mark if education follows the trend. Eventually, much more jobs and much more workforce is needed to grow, to keep growing as an economy. The real threshold is the Earth capacity. I mean, but this is out of scope, I think, today. But in terms of workforce, I think any automation or any advancement in technology that allows you to stop doing something which can be automated most probably gives you opportunity to focus on what you do at the core of your business or at the core of your expertise, and eventually grow you. And this is what we try to achieve, and this is how today we see our partners using this not to cut workforce, but to actually expand workforce and do more homes, more cities, more destinations, more services at the end, and eventually they keep growing rather than shrinking.
We've got probably just about enough time. It might have to be a fairly quick response, or we might have to put it in the chat. But I'm guessing maybe Savas for the next question. Do you have a favorite tool for creating an AI chatbot that is tied to a knowledge base?
Not really. I mean, today, I think knowledge bases are where the rest of your customer support is. So we have an internal knowledge base in Atlassian, and Confluence is one space, and then Intercom and HubSpot are tools we're using, so they have their own. We don't have an external thing today, but I wouldn't commit on anything very long term because things are changing very fast. This is my one tip. Start with a monthly subscription on anything you do. Plus, I think security and privacy are the main drivers of decision making in some of these systems today, rather than the feature complete solutions. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have something.
Yeah, absolutely. Things are changing at a rapid pace. So thank you, Savas. If any of our other speakers want to come in, then feel free to put those in the chat as well, and we can follow up with them at the end. But I want to say a huge thank you to all of our contributors today, to Savas, to Yuli, to Francois and Liliana for a fantastic discussion today. We've got a slide here. Thank you very much. And so we're going to be back on Tuesday, the 11th of June for our first webinar of a new series that is sponsored by Key Data on Logify. It's going to be a data session called Squeezing the Pips, Maximizing Peak Period Business. So the sign up link is in the chat now, and we'd love to have you join us there in a couple of weeks' time. And for opportunities to work with us, please do contact my colleague Jordan using his details on screen now. It's a great time to be working with us on events, on our podcasts, and of course on our webinar content, as you can see today. We're going to keep the session open for another 2 minutes if you want to jot down any questions, any details, I should say, from the chat. I see we have just had a question come in at the very end, so if our speakers are able to come in on that, or you can reach out to our speakers afterwards. But a big thank you, of course, to Welcome Pickups for their collaboration and sponsorship for today's session. Big thank you to our speakers and to all of you for tuning in. We'll see you all again very soon. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Hello, we are International Hospitality Media, or IHM for short. IHM is the #1 brand to engage with decision makers in hospitality and real estate. Our 4 multimedia brands lead their respective sectors with breaking news, comments, trends and opinion across a variety of multimedia solutions. We provide an inspirational community to connect people through world-class events, webinars, podcasts, award schemes and much more. But let us share our story of who we are and what we do. Over 10 years ago, Piers & George had a light bulb moment to provide expert opinion, comments and low-cost digital content. And so they went on a journey over the past decade, creating media platforms to serve the hospitality and real estate industries. We now have an engaged audience with a reach of over 60,000 monthly visitors across our website, 48,000 of our email database across all the sectors, and over 67,000 across our social channels. Everything we do believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. We make things simple and very easy to work with us. And we're a friendly bunch too. We offer creative solutions to help you achieve your business goals. Read, watch, listen, meet with IHM. Contact us for a chat today. Just look at some of the brands we have worked with recently.